Okay, so hello students, welcome to all of you. This is Suyaj Bajpayee, Suyaj Bhaiya here in front of you. ठीक है, तो friends, today we will study kinematics. All right, kinematics of a particle, and we'll discuss something about the position, the displacement, the velocity, and the acceleration of a particle. So let's start without any further uh, taking any time. Let's start. Okay, तो बच्चों, students, yeah. So our first topic is position. So what do you mean by position? In kinematics, we have to deal with position, okay, distance, all right, displacement, okay, displacement, speed, velocity, acceleration. So we have to deal with these sort of things. Okay, so let us understand what these things are. Okay, so before starting, let me tell you for whom these classes belongs to. कौन कौन इस लेक्चर को देख सकता है? तो स्टूडेंट, अगर आप 11th क्लास में हो, ठीक है, तो आप इसको देख सकते हो. 9th क्लास में हो, क्योंकि 9th और 11th का लगभग कोर्स सेम होता है, तो आप इसे देख सकते हो. 12th क्लास के स्टूडेंट से देख सकते हैं जो अपना रिवीजन करना चाहते हैं. अगर आप किसी IIT JEE क्लियर या नीट की प्रिपरेशन कर रहे हो, तो आप इस लेक्चर को पूरी तरह से फॉलो कर सकते हो. ठीक है, दिस ऑल दीज सीरीज ऑफ लेक्चर्स विल बेनिफिट यू ऑल डेफिनेटली, राइट. सो विदाउट एनी फर्दर ड्यू लेट्स प्रोसीड. तो पहले डिस्कस करते हैं व्हाट यू मीन बाय पोजीशन. ठीक है, तो स्टूडेंट्स सबसे पहले तो समझो बात को कि भाई ये है हमारी वाई एक्सिस और ये है हमारी एक्स एक्सिस. ठीक है, तो सपोज वी हैव अ पॉइंट समवेयर हियर. ठीक है, तो ये एक्स एक्सिस है भाई, क्लियर, and this is our y-axis, and here we have a point somewhere here. So and we also have the coordinate of this points, right. तो 9th क्लास के स्टूडेंट्स अगर ये पहली बार देख रहे हैं तो ये समझे भाई ये कोऑर्डिनेट सिस्टम है. ठीक है, हो सकता है आप ये पहली बार देख रहे हो, तो इसके कोऑर्डिनेट्स होंगे, राइट. तो इसका कोऑर्डिनेट होगा, ये कोऑर्डिनेट x1 हो जाएगा, ठीक है, और y कोऑर्डिनेट y1 हो जाएगा. ठीक है, तो इस पॉइंट के कुछ कोऑर्डिनेट्स होंगे. कोऑर्डिनेट्स मीन्स x1, y1. ठीक है, सो दिस इज कॉल्ड द पोजीशन. दिस x1 y1 इज कॉल्ड द पोजीशन ऑफ दिस पार्टिकल. ठीक है, ये पार्टिकल स्टार्टिंग में यहाँ पे है, इस पॉइंट पे है. इफ वील जॉइन दिस लाइन लाइक दिस, क्लियर. सो दिस वेक्टर, दिस o vector, this o for origin and a for this point, right. So this oa vector is called as the position vector. Okay, position vector of this point, clear. This is called the position vector, okay, of this particular point, right. So if we'll deal in only one axis, this is a point in 2D, right, in 2 dimension. So we have x coordinate and y coordinate also, clear. So what this position vector will be? This position vector will be simply x1 I cap plus y1 j cap. All right, I think this is very much clear to all of you. Maybe for some person it is slightly difficult, but students, just wait for a while. I have to start with this, right. So this coordinates are called as the positions. Okay, this coordinate x1, okay, this distance is your x1, right, clear, check. And this distance will be your y1, clear. So the coordinates of this will be x1 comma y1. I hope this thing is very much clear to all of you, right. So these coordinates are called the position of a particle. Okay, clear students. So if this particle will change its position, if this particle will change its position, if it will move from here to here, its coordinates will change, and hence we will say that this particle have traveled, have gone with some distance or displacement, or have achieved some velocity and acceleration, right. I hope this thing is very much clear to all of you. Okay, students, so now let us talk about the distance, the displacement, and velocity. Okay, so suppose we have this particle here. Suppose we have a particle here, clear, and this particle have traveled a distance like this, and it's reached here, right. Means it has started from initial point I and it has reached to a final position F, right. So this particle have moved from one initial position to one final position, right, clear. So now this particle have covered some distance and displacement. So what do you mean by displacement? What do you mean by displacement? So the shortest distance between initial and final position is your displacement. What do you mean by the shortest distance between 2 points? Means you have to join these 2 lines, these 2 points, right? This will be a straight line. So this is your displacement here in this case, right? So whenever the concept of displacement will be here, so you have to think about the shortest distance between initial and final position. That's it. Alright students, just think about it, right? And if I talk about distance, what do you mean by distance? Then what you will say? What is distance in this case? So distance is simply the length of the path. Length of the path covered. That's it. This is your distance, right? So if I talk about here in this case, so what will be our distance? This length of the path is our distance here in this case, right? I hope this thing is very much clear to all of you. Okay, so just note it down. Just note down these 2 things. What do you mean by distance and what do you mean by displacement, right? So whenever whenever in any case you have to tell what is the displacement covered, you have to think about the shortest distance between your initial and final position. That's it, right? And whenever you have to find the distance of the distance covered by the particle, you have to think about the length of the path, the complete length of the path. So from here what we can say that this distance, okay, let us denote this distance from D, okay, and this displacement from S vector, right? So this D is always smaller than, sorry, this D is always greater than or equal to displacement vector. Clear? Just think about it. Displacement is always greater than distance is always greater than displacement. Okay, why? Because this is the complete distance, is the complete length of the path, and displacement is the shortest distance between initial and final position. That's it, right? So I hope this thing is very much clear to all of you. Let's proceed. Okay, okay students, so let me give you an example. Okay, let me give you an example here. In this case, suppose a particle start from a point, okay, and 1 minute, yeah, yes, suppose a particle start from point, yeah, wait, okay, all right, yes, suppose a particle starts from here, okay, and going through this path, okay, following this path, it is coming back to the same point, right? So can means it started from A, and after completing the circular path it come back to the same point A, right? So can anyone tell what is the displacement here in this case? Displacement is 0, right? But what is the distance covered? So distance covered is the length of the path, so that is 2 pi r. R is the radius of the circular path. Okay, so this is the basic example. You can you can differentiate what is the difference between, you can understand what is the difference between your distance and displacement. ठीक है? So students, आई होप कि यहाँ तक आपको सब कुछ समझ में आया होगा. लेट्स प्रोसीड. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं. सुनाओ, अब हमारे पास 2 चीज़ें हमें बिल्कुल क्लियर हैं, एक है डिस्टेंस और एक है डिस्प्लेसमेंट और एक है डिस्टेंस, राइट? ये 2 चीज़ें हमें एकदम क्लियर हैं. ठीक है, नाउ लेट्स प्रोसीड टू आवर नेक्स्ट टॉपिक, व्हाट इज एवरेज वेलोसिटी. ओके, सो नाउ लेट अस टॉक अबाउट दिस थिंग. क्लियर, व्हाट इज एवरेज वेलोसिटी. ओके, सो वापस चलते हैं भाई, वेलोसिटी की बात करेंगे अब हम. ओके, सो यस, सो व्हाट यू मीन बाय वेलोसिटी इज वेलोसिटी. एंड वेलोसिटी की अगर हम बात कर ही रहे हैं तो हम बात करेंगे लगे हाथ स्पीड की भी. ओके, सो व्हाट यू मीन बाय स्पीड ऑल्सो. ठीक है, तो अच्छा स्पीड जो होती है वो होती है टोटल डिस्टेंस कवर्ड. ओके, टोटल डिस्टेंस कवर्ड अपॉन, यस, टोटल टाइम टेकन. ओके, total time. Or what we can say simply, one minute, yes, or what we can say is simply speed is what? distance covered, okay, distance covered upon time taken. Just think. Okay, so this is your speed. What is velocity? Velocity is simply displacement covered, displacement, okay, covered in a motion, okay, divided by time taken. Okay, कितना टाइम लिया गया उस डिस्प्लेसमेंट को कवर करने के लिए. दैट्स इट. ओके, दैट्स इट. दिस इज योर वेलोसिटी, दिस इज योर स्पीड. ओके, means we can say that our displacement is simply that our velocity is simply change in displacement, change in position, you can say, divided by total time taken. And what is our speed? So distance covered, d, capital D, we denote the distance from capital D and displacement from small s vector, right? So delta D by delta T is our speed. I hope this thing is very much clear to all of you. Okay, so now let us go through a example. Okay, but before going to that example, let me tell you something about the acceleration also. Okay, ये सब आप लोग ने 9th क्लास में पढ़ा होगा. ठीक है स्टूडेंट्स. So what do you mean by acceleration? Yes, suppose if a body is starting at a velocity u, clear, and its velocity is increasing, and at some time t its velocity become small v. So the time taken here is delta t, clear. So there is change in velocity, right? There is change in the velocity of a particle. Okay, suppose it is initially it is u, finally it become v. So what is your acceleration? तो स्टूडेंट, जब आप में से किसी ने बाइक चलाई है, so when you drive the bike, so what do you feel? When you accelerate, right, means when you take the accelerator, then what happens? The speed of the bike will increase, right? So that's the meaning of acceleration, means the change in velocity, or you can say increase in velocity. So in this case, the change in velocity v minus u and the time taken divided by delta t. So this is acceleration. Means in simple words, what is acceleration? It is the rate of change of what? Velocity. Rate of change of velocity is the acceleration, right? So rate of change of velocity, what do you mean by this? So it simply means that your acceleration divided by a vector is equals to v final velocity minus initial velocity. This is change in velocity divided by time taken. Time taken is t, or you can say delta t. Delta t is equals to t. Let us suppose t time have been taken in this journey, right? So this is the formula of acceleration, right? Change in velocity upon time taken. Okay students, all right, let me tell you one more thing here, one more interesting thing. So velocity, when we talk about velocity have two meanings. Your average velocity have two meanings. Your average velocity, clear, average velocity, and your instantaneous velocity, clear. So we'll talk about both these things, right? When we'll talk about speed also have two meanings, average and instantaneous, clear. If we'll talk about acceleration, it also has two things, average acceleration and instantaneous acceleration, clear. So let me tell you something about the average things here, and we'll talk about the instantaneous velocity, speed and acceleration in further discussions, right? So yeah, so when we will talk about your average velocity, okay, so what do you mean by average velocity? Average velocity means simply the total displacement, total. Suppose, let me give you a hint student, right? Suppose if you are in a class and you have to find the average of the height of the student of the class, right? So what you will do, you will add all the heights of each student and divide it by the number of students, right? So that's how we will find the average. So suppose we have to find the average velocity of a journey, right? Then what you will do, you will add, means you will find the total displacement, right, divided by total time taken, that's it. Okay, if we'll talk about average speed, very simple thing, right? Means if the average term come, total and total will come, right? So total distance covered in journey divided by total time taken. If I'll talk about average acceleration, right? acceleration, then does it means? It means total change in velocity. Clear? Total change in velocity delta v divided by total time taken. So let us solve a numerical to understand these things better: average acceleration, average velocity, and average speed, है ना? And here is your numerical. So just pause the video for 10 minutes. Okay, just give it a trial and then just see the solution here. Okay, I hope you have solved it, right? So now let me solve it for you, student. Okay, all right. Yes, so let me read this question for you all. So a bird flies north at 20 meter per second for 15 seconds, right? It rests for 5 seconds, clear? Then flies south at 20 meter per second for 10 seconds. So first we have to picturize this, right? So let me tell you about east, west, north, south, clear? So yes. So this is, you have to remember, right? So this is north, this is south, this is east, this is west. Clear, students? Now this bird is moving. This bird is moving. Initially, a bird flies north at 20 meter per second. Okay, so towards north. North at 20 meter per second. Clear? 20 meter per second speed, and for 15 seconds, right? 15 seconds. Clear? Then rest for 5 seconds. Rest for 5 seconds, and then south at 25 meter per second for 10 seconds. Clear? So this data have been given, right? And for the whole trip you have to find the average speed. Means, what do you mean by average speed? So what the formula we have studied right now. So average speed means total distance of the journey divided by total time taken in the journey, right? What do you mean by average velocity? So it is again total displacement covered in the journey divided by total time taken, right? What is average acceleration? Means total change in velocity, right? Total change in velocity means final velocity of the journey, right? What do you mean by total change in velocity? Average acceleration means final velocity of the journey minus initial velocity of the journey. This is the next change in velocity divided by the time taken. Okay, just think, this is the average things, right? So now let us do it. Okay, so what distance have this bird covered in when it is moving in north direction? So speed is given and time is given. So you can find the distance from this data, right, for this journey, right, when it is moving toward north. When it is moving toward north, just think, check. Yeah, so it is speed is equals to distance upon time. So distance equals speed into time, right? So 20 into 15. So this bird has covered a distance of 300 meter towards north, right? Just check it. I am erasing it. Okay. One minute. Yeah. All right. Check now. Yes. So this distance is 300 meter. Okay. Then it rests for 5 seconds. No problem. And then it flies to south. South means downward, right? 20 with a speed of 25 meter per second for 10 seconds. What distance it will cover? Speed into time again. Okay, 250. Check meter, right? So in south direction, from here it traveled down in the north, in the south direction, and it has covered 250 meter in south direction. Is that okay? Check. Now you will find the average speed. So what do you mean by average speed? Total distance. What is the total distance covered? Simply, yes, length of the path. So 300 plus 250 total distance, right? Check. What is the total time taken? So 15, 5 and 10, 30. All right. So this will be your average speed. Just solve it and just let me know the answer. Okay. Yeah, you can tell the answer in comments. No problem. And check that, everyone. Now let us solve about average velocity. So what is average velocity? Again, total displacement. So what is the net displacement here? Yes, so displacement of the journey, right? So this particle starts here, going in this way, coming back, this bird, and ends up here, right? So in this case, our this position is initial and this position is final. So what is the distance between this? So it is just 300 minus 250. Just think. So this is your 50 meter is your displacement. Just think about it, right? So that's what you have to do. Means 300 clear, minus 250 divided by total time. What is total time? Again, time is 30. So this will be your average velocity. Check the average velocity of the journey, right? So now let us talk about average acceleration. So average acceleration means what? Means final velocity minus initial velocity, right? And you have to go with the sign convention also. Clear? So let me tell you about something about the sign convention here. Important thing, you have to note down this in your notes. Sign convention. Okay, sign convention. So what we'll do, always in positive y-axis we'll take positive, in negative y-axis we'll take negative. Whatever the vector quantity will be in negative direction, we'll take it to be as negative. Whatever will be in positive x direction, we'll take it to be a positive. Negative x direction, we'll take it to be as negative. Simple, very simple, right? Clear, students? So now let's proceed. Okay, so now let's proceed. 1 minute. Yes. Okay, all right. So now let us solve this for acceleration. So final velocity is in negative direction, right? Just check, everyone. So final velocity v is equals to what? 25 meter per second. Okay, but in south direction means downward. Okay, so it is minus 225. Check, meter per second. Final velocity from v. Initial velocity u is equals to upward direction, so it is simply 20 meter per second. Just check, everyone, right? It is positive because it is in the positive direction. Okay, check. Okay, this sign convention I will follow. You can follow any other sign convention, but I will stick with this sign convention throughout our discussion, right? Throughout our study. All right, I hope this thing is very much clear to all of you. So now let's solve this. So acceleration is v minus u by t, average acceleration, right? So what is v? Minus 25 minus of plus 20, check, divided by total time taken. Again, the time of the journey is 30 seconds. So that's it, dear students, right? So when you solve this, you will get it to be as minus 45 divided by 30. Check. So it is nothing but you can say 1.5 minus 1.5 meter per second square. So one question is that what this minus sign showing you? This minus sign shows you that our acceleration will be in southward direction. That's it. Clear? Means this is our acceleration which is in south direction. Clear? If someone else have taken any other sign convention, then you can say you can find that this is positive but the direction is south only, right? So that's the thing. This is the thing that sign convention will tell us. So in this lecture we have covered our concept of position. Clear? Our concept of distance and displacement, our concept of velocity and speed and acceleration, means average velocity, average speed and average acceleration. In the next lecture we'll go through the concept of instantaneous velocity and instantaneous acceleration. Okay, in the next lecture we'll start with a basic example of the average acceleration, average velocity once again, and then we'll reach out to our next topic, that is instantaneous acceleration velocity. ओके स्टूडेंट, आई होप कि आप सभी को ये लेक्चर पूरी तरह से समझ में आया होगा. मैं पूरे लेक्चर को इंग्लिश में बना रहा हूँ ताकि नॉर्थ इंडिया, साउथ इंडिया, हर तरफ के स्टूडेंट इसको अप्रोच कर सकें. ठीक है, इफ़ यू गॉट दिस लेक्चर वेल एंड यू डेवलप अ वेरी गुड अंडरस्टैंडिंग, देन जस्ट ट्राई टू शेयर दिस टू योर फ्रेंड्स. ओके, एंड लेट्स ग्रो टुगेदर. थैंक यू स्टूडेंट्स, थैंक यू.